In this video, I'll be going over how to complete the Word 1B Office for the Web Grader project. Just like in the Word 1A, we always start with download materials. Okay, and you can download both of these files by clicking the Download All Files. Once it's downloaded, recall that you can go to office.com and sign in using your Gmail. From there, you're going to click on My Content, scroll down near the bottom left and click on Upload, and then we need to open up the instruction file. Again, just like how I mentioned in the previous video, if you have a printer, I highly suggest that you print this out, or you can simply move back and forth between this start file or this instruction file and the start file. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and upload the start file now, and that's the Student Word 1B Office for the Web. Keep in mind that this should say your name, Word 1B for the Web. Okay, and so I have this file up as well as my instruction sheet. And so I'm going to go ahead and print this and put this to the side so I can get started. Okay, so we've already done step 1, which was to open office.com and upload the Office for the Web Word 1B file, which is what you see here. Make sure that you see this classic view of the ribbon. If it's not this view, you'll click the down arrow near the bottom right corner of your ribbon and make sure to select Classic Ribbon. Okay, if it says single line, it might look like this, so just make sure you do choose Classic. Just like for Word 1A, make sure that you do click your Show Hide Paragraph marks, and just so that it's easier for you to see on your screens, I'm going to zoom it in. Okay, finally for step 2, it does say, if necessary, select the ruler to display the rulers in the document. So up on your View tab, you're going to click on the ruler button, which is located in your show group. Okay, and this brings us to step number 3. And it tells us on the Layout tab, in the Page Setup group, you'll click on Margins and then select Custom Margins. We're then going to change the left and right margins to 1. So here's my left, and I'll just press Tab, press 1, and press Tab 1 more, and then I'll click my OK button. Okay, so we've adjusted the margins, and that brings us to question number 4. So question 4 says to select the first line of the document, Biz Intel Media. Then on our Home tab, in my font group, we're going to change this from 11 to 40 and press Enter. Next, we're going to select the second line, and this is going to be 26. So I'll type in 26 and press Enter. For step 5, it says to select the first 3 lines of the document. The first 3 lines meaning Biz Intel Media, summer internship information, and exciting opportunities for students. Once you have those 3 lines selected, in our paragraph group, we're going to choose Align Center to center it horizontally. And then it says to scroll down and center the 2 remaining subheadings, Requirements and Upcoming Live Streams. Okay, so I'll start with Requirements. I'll center that, and then I need to scroll down to Upcoming Internship live streams. Okay, and center. Okay, and I'm just going to click out of that selection. That brings us to step 6, which says press Ctrl+A or drag to select the entire document. So you'll notice from the instructions that even though it says Ctrl+A, we're not actually going to press our plus sign. It just means we're going to hold down Control and the A key. So holding my Control key on my keyboard down, I'm going to press my A key once and then let go of my Control key. So that's your keyboard shortcut to select all the text within your document. Okay, now that we have everything selected, up in our paragraph group, we need to go to our line spacing. Your line spacing is the little button with a small blue up and a small blue down arrow. Okay, we're then going to adjust this to 1.5. So the line spacing between each line is a lot smaller than the double spaced. And then for step 7, it says to position the insertion point in the paragraph that begins Biz Intel Media. Okay, and so I'm clicking in front of Biz Intel Media. And then on my Home tab in the paragraph group, we need to select the dialog box launcher. So each one of these groups, or some of them rather, have dialog box launchers. Dialog box launchers are just these little squares with a tiny diagonal arrow that will give you more options. Okay, and so here is our paragraph dialog box as it's opened. Okay, next it says under indentation. So here's our indentation section. Click the special arrow, and we're going to choose first line and then OK. So what we just did was an automatic first line half-inch indent. Okay, and it tells us to repeat this process for the paragraphs that begin social media integration and media production interns. So I'll go ahead and scroll down. And here's where it says social media integration. Make sure that you click in front of social media integration. Open up your paragraph dialog box launcher. Change special to first line and then click OK. And do the same thing for in front of media production interns. That brings us to step number 8, which says to select the paragraph customer interaction. Okay, and so here's where it says customer interaction, as well as the 3 paragraphs that follow it. So here's customer interaction, the first paragraph, second, and third. So try not to think about this in terms of English paragraphs where, you have several sentences in a paragraph. Whenever you see an actual paragraph mark, that counts as a paragraph when we're working in Microsoft Word. So make sure you have these 4 lines selected. Okay, and next it says on the Home tab, in your paragraph group, select the bullets button down arrow. And we're going to choose the small black square bullet. So by default, if you had just pressed on this button instead of the down arrow, that gives us solid black circle bullets, but we do want the squares. So you'll choose small black square and notice that your bullets are now in the shape of squares. For step 9, it says to apply small black square bullets to the 3-item list that begins with live stream events and webcasting, and the 3-item list that begins with overview of internship opportunities. So I'm going to slightly scroll down. And so to these 3 items, I'm going to apply the same bullets. And then I'll scroll down again until I see the next set of items. And so that was overview of internship opportunities down to question and answer session. And make sure that you do select the small black squares. Okay, that brings us to step number 10, which says to position the insertion point at the end of the paragraph below the requirements subheading. Okay, so I'm going to start from the top. And here is the requirements subheading. And it says to position the insertion point at the end of the paragraph below it. Okay, and so that's to the right of the colon following the word must. Okay, I'll press my Enter key, and it says to remove the indent on the ruler, point to the first line indent marker. And so this is why it was important that we showed our rulers earlier. You'll take a look at up here. There's a little blue, light blue arrow. This is your first line indent. You'll hold down your left mouse button and then drag it over so that it aligns with the indent marker that's also here, your left line indent. Okay, once you've done that, you're going to type in the number 1, the period, and then press your space bar. Next, you'll type in be enrolled in an accredited college, including the period. And then press enter. And because we started a numbered list, it automatically changed to 2 on the next line. And I'll type in be available June through August. Press enter, and then submit a faculty letter of recommendation. And again, I'm including the period. I almost forgot it after the word August, so I'll press my period button there as well. For step 12, it says toward the end of the document, select the 3 bulleted list paragraphs that contain the schedule of upcoming events. And so that list was here. So I'll select those 3 items. Now on the Home tab in my paragraph group, we're going to open the Paragraph dialog box launcher. And then on the bottom right, we're going to click on Tab Stop Options. Okay, from here I'm going to click on Add. Where it says Position, I'll type in the number 6. We're going to change left to right, and then the leader is going to be the first one beneath none, which is dotted. And basically what we're telling Microsoft Word right now is that when we press Tab within these 3 bulleted items that we selected, it's going to put your insertion point to the 6-inch here, aligned to the right, and there's going to be what's called a dot leader. And so let's see what that looks like. Okay, and so here it is. And these dots appear because there were actual tab presses when this document was first made. Okay, and notice that it's all aligned to the 6-inch on the right side of our page. For number 13, it says in the bulleted list, in the second item, position the insertion point at the end of the line after 6 p.m. Okay, after you've done that, we're going to press enter and we'll type in another bulleted item. Okay, after you type in Media Production Services, when you press your Tab key, notice that those dot leaders automatically appear. And then as you type the date, October 20, 7 o'clock p.m., notice that the leaders or the dot leaders adjust according to the text that you type. So everything always ends aligned to that 6-inch right tab stop that we created. Okay, and so that was it for 1B. Let's go ahead, go to File. We'll do a Save As, download a copy, click Download a Copy again, and then you can go back to your MyLab Grader, close this out. We already worked on the assignment, so we're going to choose File. Make sure that you upload the correct file. So it should be Word 1B Office for the Web with a 1 in parentheses. Also double check the date modified, that it's the most recent one on your computer. You'll click Open, Upload, and then you can submit it for grading. Okay, and unlike the 1A, this one let me submit it properly. So I'll go ahead and click Continue. And now I'm going to go back to my grader window. And so here back in MyLab, hopefully it said your current score is 100 points out of 100. If you didn't get 100 points, you can click on Review. And it will show you the points you earned versus the possible points. And so let's say, for instance, that you did have some wrong. So I'm going to go ahead and I redid the project 1B with some errors just so you can see what this is going to look like. Okay, so I'm going to upload a file with one that I do know has errors. I'll submit it for grading. And then I'll click Continue. And I've opened it up for review. So notice that now I have 95 out of 100 points. So what I'm going to do is to scroll down. Notice that in red it shows me what was an error. I'm just going to keep scrolling down just in case there were any other reds. I'll click the down red arrow. Okay, and it tells me for the bulleted paragraph overview, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that wasn't set to bullet. This wasn't set to square either. So what you can do is to reopen your 1B file. And let me find it. Okay, I'm going to change this back to the bullets that they should have been. I'm going to resave this, download a copy, click download a copy again, and then I'll go back to my upload window. Okay, so I'll go to my assignments, open up that Word 1B Office for Web, and now because I've already fixed it, I'm going to go back to Choose File to upload my fixed file. So I'll open, upload, and see if I can submit that for grading. Click Continue. Okay, and I can review my report, which says that I have 100 points out of 100. Okay, and the great thing about these Office for the Web grader projects is that you do have multiple attempts to submit the assignment, and I'll take the highest score up until the deadline. so you can even redo it up to 5 times as necessary until you get 100. If you're happy just getting 95 or 98, then don't feel too pressured to go for a perfect score. It's completely up to you if you're happy with your highest score that you earned.